Well, it's been a few weeks.
It's been a few weeks, y'all. But hello, we're back.
Yeah, we're back with episode 10.
Episode 10. That's a two-digit number.
Yeah, how did we manage to go for this long, even with a long break?
Yeah. I don't know. I think this is probably the longest I have committed myself to like a passion project that was not like I have known how to crochet since like 2 Junes ago,
Mhm.
but I think I've only ever finished like 2 projects. So like I have commitment issues, obviously, with my hobbies, but this one has been going well, even
Yeah,
with the break. And sometimes
yeah,
we need brain breaks and we need to take a few weeks off and come back
yep,
and be rejuvenated.
yep.
Um,
Because life happens,
that life happens.
Like, I was
Being,
gone
yeah,
in Idaho.
you were gone.
Yeah,
You were
I
in
was in Idaho.
Idaho.
Yeah, I saw
Yeah.
mountains. It was
You
weird.
did?
Yeah,
You were like in Napa, right?
yeah.
Is that where that is? Yeah. Cool.
Nampa,
Napa.
Nampa,
Logan, where tell the listeners where you went if you're allowed. I think you're allowed.
probably. But I was
Probably.
in Nampa, Idaho at
Napa.
Northwestern Nazarene University because work had a video thing there that I had to go to, and it was really fun.
Yay! Nice.
Yeah,
That's fun.
I ate potatoes.
Idaho potatoes are the best.
Yeah, there was a restaurant that had really good fries.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah, well you were in Napa. I had I think 3 dentist appointments.
Oh, that's not fun.
Like 3 weeks in a row. Um So I went, and this is my first time going to the dentist since I got my braces off because I never had insurance. But now that
Ah,
I'm working and I have insurance, I can go to the dentist. So
yeah.
I
American
went
healthcare.
for American healthcare is so great. Hooray! But I went for a cleaning, and during my cleaning, she was like, "Oh, you have 2 cavities. You should get
Oh,
fillings." And I was
yeah,
like, "Okay." So I went back the next week and got a filling, and then went back the week after and got a filling because they were on different sides of my jaw, and they don't want to numb your entire jaw.
yeah. Because then it's hard
Understandable.
to live.
It is really hard. It was hard to live. I think, like, after my second filling, I just felt like crap.
Yeah,
Like, I don't know why. That one just was tougher. And he had to drill more,
mm,
which was probably part of like the mentality of it. I was a little
yeah.
psyched out and I felt ill. Um but tomorrow I am going for a consult to see if my wisdom tooth is gonna get pulled.
Ah, good old wisdom
I'm
teeth.
I'm really scared of that one.
Yeah, dentistry is not fun.
It's so scary.
Yeah,
It's horrifying.
that's why
And I
I
think I've
always
said
I always brush my teeth every day.
every day, twice a day. Do you floss every day?
Yeah, I floss every day.
Oh,
I actually
real.
floss.
Nice. You hear
Yeah,
that, ladies? Logan flosses.
yeah.
Um, I think I've said on the podcast too how much I hate dentistry and how like my biggest fear is anything happening with my teeth.
Yeah.
But yeah. So when they did my panoramic x-ray, so one of my wisdom teeth is in like a normal tooth.
Mhm.
My other top one is it's not in. It doesn't have anywhere to come in. They don't think it's gonna grow in because it's not even like fully developed either. So it's just kind of
Oh,
hanging out in my jaw.
huh.
Yeah. So that's that. They might want to take it out. They may not. It'll be whatever. But my bottom two, that's where it gets saucy. My bottom left one is completely horizontal,
Yeah, that'll do it.
and my bottom right is upside down.
That'll also do it.
I don't know how it got upside down, but it did.
For being wisdom teeth, they sure are dumb.
Oh, they're the dumbest wisdom teeth ever.
Yeah,
And yeah.
I had all 4 of mine I had to get removed.
Oh
I
man.
think that was actually said about 6 years
Yeah.
ago or so. It was while I
Okay.
was in high school, and it was actually
Oof.
around this time of year, around Easter, that I got them all
Oof.
removed, and that was awful.
Gosh, I'm so not excited.
Yeah.
But
Make sure that if you do have to get them removed, make sure you clean the, sores really well,
okay. Yeah.
because I had to go back in because I got
Oh.
abscesses, and they had to drain
Oh.
those, and that was even worse than actually getting the teeth removed.
Oh. Oh, heaven almighty. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh man.
Yeah, not fun, not fun.
Not fun. So yeah, that's your life since the last episode has been Napa. Mine has been dentist.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're new here, or if it's just been so long that you forgot our names, which I would be very sad because I'm assuming if you're listening to us, you know one of us IRL. Um,
I'd hope so.
but I'd hope so. Honestly, I would hope so. Unless we have a growing fan base, which would
Yeah,
be
which
awesome.
is just cool.
But which is very cool. But anyway, my name is Kaylee,
And my name's Logan.
and we don't know what we're doing. And if you don't know what you're doing either, that is a-okay because you're not alone. And we are young adults, and we're not supposed to know what we're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Only
that's
took
okay.
us 10 minutes to get to our intro. Woo.
Only took us 10 minutes.
For
Good
episode
banter.
10.
Hey,
Yeah.
angel numbers.
Yeah. Who knows
Um,
if in post it'll actually be 10 minutes. It probably won't. It'll probably be
that's
about
true.
like 6 minutes.
Oh,
But
interesting.
we're here.
Huh, we're here. But actually, Logan is kind of making us look a little silly right now because he does, in fact, know what he's doing on at least one front.
What?
Because, yeah,
What?
you've done this a couple times. Actually, you're about to publish your second book.
What?
Yeah.
Who?
So everyone claps to Logan for his second book dropping on his birthday. Logan, when's your birthday?
March 30th.
March 30th, y'all.
Yeah.
Line up at Amazon. Get this book.
Yeah. It's actually
Logan.
tomorrow. If you're listening on the day this episode goes up.
Oh, yes.
Whoa.
Whoa. If you're listening on March 29, set your Amazon cart. Get it preloaded.
Yeah.
I don't know how Amazon works because I don't really use it.
Oh.
But I do have a trial of Kindle Unlimited, and I know that both of your books will be available on Kindle Unlimited. So, yeah. Logan, what is your next book called?
This book is called Altered Minds.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Nice.
And I'll read the back of the book for you.
Yeah.
Prepare your mind. Altered Minds is a writing and poetry collection created and written by Logan Singletary. Inside,
that
expect
guy.
to find that the mind is not always what you think it might be. Delve into your mind and come out the other side, altered. What does it mean to be normal? To have a mind that works as it should? No one really knows, because every little thing around us alters our minds and alters our reality. Prepare your mind for a journey into madness. Should your mind alter your perception, embrace the madness.
Nice. I think you really captured a lot of those themes in the works that are in this book really well. Um,
No, that's good.
and like when I was reading it, I was like, oh my gosh, he should like. And I was thinking about this in the car today too. Like that is the great thing about poetry. But poetry is that we can say things that are a little unhinged, and if we said them in like a conversation, some way would be like, or if we sent
Whoa.
them to like our therapist, they would be writing us a referral to an inpatient center or something. But
Yeah.
all is fair in love and poetry, and you can vent and say whatever you want,
Mhm.
which is, I don't know. I always thought it was fun when I was writing a lot.
Yeah. And
Just to be
it's
crazy.
definitely not a reason that I'm most likely on an FBI watch list, 'cause
Fair.
there's only 2 types of people that are on FBI watch lists, and it's actual, like, criminals and writers,
Yeah.
because we often look up very unhinged things, trying to find things for our writing and stuff, find inspiration sometimes, and also the things that we write can be a little intense
Yeah.
depending on the writer, but in general, those are the 2 types of people you'll find on FBI watch lists.
Mm. Yeah. And it's so funny that you say that because one of the works that I picked as kind of my standouts, I guess, from when I was looking over this was Silence, which I think you wrote about that exact kind of phenomenon.
Mhm.
Um, and but yes, you wrote Silence about that activity, didn't you?
Um, maybe.
Maybe.
Some of these, it's
Like,
actually been a while since I've actually, like, read through them,
uh-huh.
so
Well,
it's kinda nice to be able to, like, go back through, look at it all, like, as I'm creating this,
yeah.
but yeah,
I think
I can
yeah,
definitely
sorry.
see where you're getting that idea from, because it is
Mhm.
kind of like that, where, like, people will try to silence you based on your
Mhm.
ideas and things, and it's just like, "No, no, I don't think so."
Yeah.
And it's not gonna be these corporate executives that control the speech, not politicians, it'll be the creatives.
Yeah. Like the power will like swing back to the
Mhm,
media. I know what I really liked about it is that in the first half of the poem is this you create this abysmal like an oppression,
yeah, like a dystopian
yeah,
world.
like you're placed in silence.
Mhm,
You're being forced there. The only way to break it is to speak.
mhm,
And I really like the last stanza where the shift happens and it reads, "It is not the politicians that will lead us. It will be the artists, the writers, the creators. We will create a new world, one filled with stories, stories of the past when life was hard and easy. We will not be silenced." And I think it has like multiple meanings. I'm not sure when you wrote this, but we've talked about this before, but like the rise of AI and
mhm.
creative mediums, this applies to that too, I think. Um,
Yeah,
Because more often than not, AI is being funded by corporations that want automation,
mhm.
that want ease, that want to take the human condition out of human media.
'Cause with a lot of AI generated text and media, a lot of it takes out that human element, obviously,
Mhm.
and, what makes human writing different is that it's based in reality. It actually has story to it. We craft things, but AI is just
There's
pulling from
history
other
pinned to
things.
it. Yeah.
It's like
Like the history is like
yeah,
woven into it instead of just
mhm,
being like fed into a machine and spit back out.
yeah. Like an AI could not generate what I write because
No.
a lot of it has come from, like, my experiences and things that I've seen, and that impacts my writing.
Yeah.
Like an AI, they can't get that same level.
No, it can't be informed, it can't be influenced.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't have empathy.
It's almost like the, monkeys on a typewriter theory, where if you have enough monkeys on typewriters and you have them typing there for long enough, they'll eventually recreate an entire work of Shakespeare. That's kind of what I see AI as,
Yeah.
where it's just endless typing away until it makes something.
That's just so hypotheticals like that are just so facetious and useless to me, and they will never hold any sway or any logic in my mind, but I don't know. They do in others, and that's what, like, maybe that's like the predominant thought process of society, and I'll be the one that gets left behind because I can't comprehend things like that, I guess. But
I don't know.
anyway, yes, I think silence was really telling, really relevant. I think, depending on when you wrote it, I think you accurately predicted a lot of what's
Mhm.
happening in modern creative
Yeah,
circles and modern political circles.
yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely right now.
Yeah,
But I definitely wrote this a while ago. This is probably one of my older ones that's in this
really.
collection, which
Okay.
this collection is actually, like, a bunch of stuff from around, like, basically when I was in college
Yeah.
and a little bit after.
Okay.
Because my first one, which was called The Light of Humanity, that one
Hmm.
was all things I wrote, like, in high school. And so if you
Okay.
have both books, you can definitely see a difference in the level of writing,
Yeah.
which is also, like,
Like, see
really
the
cool.
growth that went on. Yeah.
Mhm.
Like with any artist's body of work, like it's going to change.
Yeah.
Um, but having a series like that, especially for you, I think will be really cool in your career to see
Mhm.
like the stages that you went through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A poem that I really liked in this book was oh gosh, which one do I choose? Uh, uh, I like all of these. Uh, let's go with let's start with, um, Dreaded Mind. Let's
Okay.
start with that one. Which
Start with
page
that
was
one.
that on? I should have written the page numbers down. Oh gosh.
Um,
Oh gosh.
8.
8?
Yes.
Yeah, I put that one really early. Dang, for such a dark one too. Oh. Alright, there it is. So this one is a short poem. It's very short. I'm gonna go ahead and read the whole thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
A single thought of mine makes me taut as I kneel, waiting for someone or no one. Real life stops, fulfilled with my knots. The gentle hand of the rope beckons a prolonged end that starts with a push and a chair, moved without a crash.
This is the one that made me think, huh, maybe there's some if I just set this on the street, I would be put in an inpatient facility for
Yeah.
sure.
This one is essentially well, this is actually an inspired poem. So it's inspired by a similar poem from a different poet. I forgot
Okay.
the name of the person that inspired it. But like it was more of like the style of the poem. So if you look at the poem, there's very interesting formatting with it.
Mhm.
I think you could kind of hear that while I was reading it as well. But
Yes.
this poem is kind of about a touchy subject for many people.
Uh-huh. Mhm.
It's essentially a suicide poem,
Yeah.
which I'm fine. Don't worry.
Are you okay?
But it's kind of like taking that idea of a desperation,
Yeah.
and it's like you're focused only on that one thing, and that kind of fills your mind as well,
Mhm.
hence the title Dreaded Mind.
Yeah.
So it's like taking those ideas and those things that do happen during those moments, but kind of taking it a step further.
And, like, taking it out of the thought and into the action.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I don't know, I got chills when I read it. Um,
It's I said it was
like,
dark. It's a little dark.
it's dark. It's a little dark.
Kind of a
Yeah,
theme in this book.
the darkness.
Yeah.
Um, and I think, like, I don't know, just I've always been a fan of, like, really provocative and, like, uncomfortable imagery,
Mhm.
and like, I can't get over the last 2 stanzas, especially "and a chair moved without a crash," like,
Mhm. Yeah.
because, the person doesn't hear the crash. The narrator is not hearing the crash, you know?
Or there just isn't a crash at all because they're standing on the chair and the chair is pushed away.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
Okay. So then even then that adds, like, the threat of hesitancy, like, instead of, like, pushing the chair forcefully, it's like a tentative nudge
Yeah.
and a scrape, and yeah.
It's like they're not throwing the chair away, they're just kind of pushing it and then they're just left there.
So it's like, hmm, it makes, like, a void of, like, passion almost. I don't know if passion's the right word, but
I think emotion would probably be
yeah,
a better word.
yes. Because, maybe like, historically and theatrically, you have, like, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Like, you have suicide scenes like Ophelia's where from King Lear or Hamlet, not King Lear, she just slips away.
Yeah.
And I think this is very reminiscent of that.
Yeah. And I think
Yeah.
it kind of sheds a light on what those situations can be like for some people. Obviously, not
Mhm.
everyone, because everyone is different when dealing with this type of stuff, especially.
Yes.
But for quite a few people, it is just kind of like a silent cloud almost, just like a silent fog around you. And it's just kind
Yeah.
of like you become a shell
Mhm.
with that like void of emotion.
Like, you're a car driving through the fog without a driver kind of a
Hmm.
thing. I don't know, some of these, like, the waiting for someone, no one real, like, no real people, but then real life stops.
Hmm.
Like, the word is serving a dual purpose,
Yeah.
which you don't really pick up on that until it's read aloud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like this poem in particular, it has a lot of layers to it, I think.
Yeah.
Because you have
Yeah, it
the
does.
visual layer where you're just reading it, and yeah, you can follow like the commas and stuff. But when it's
Yeah.
like read aloud, it almost takes on like a slightly different meaning that doesn't
Yeah.
take away from it, but it like makes it better in a sense.
Mhm. And, like, the feeling of, like, being like, that void keeps coming back when real life stops, fulfilled with my knots, like,
Mm.
tying the thing that is the end of your life is the work of your life.
Yeah. But also fulfilled with
Like,
my nots, as in the things I did not do
gosh,
or did not get a chance to accomplish.
son of what? You can't do that. Oh my gosh. Dang. Oh man. Oh, oh man. Ooh, that is clever. That is so clever. Oh my god.
using the homophones.
Dude,
I think that's what it
that's
is.
yeah, that's a homophone.
Yeah.
I remember because of VeggieTales.
Yep.
Oh dang. Any final thoughts or points you want to make about Dread in Mind?
If you or someone else you know is dealing with issues that might have been talked about already, um, give a call to 988, the mental health hotline. Help is available. So, yeah, just wanna get that out there as well.
Another resource, because a lot of times at least in my line of work, mental health and mental illness and substance use disorder, substance abuse disorder, whatever, are concurrent issues. So just another resource to go along with 988 is SAMHSA's National Helpline. SAMHSA is the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. And they are 1-800-622-HELP. That's 1-800-662-4357. I work with them a lot, so that's
Nice.
in my back pocket always.
Nice.
So, yeah. What I think is probably my favorite work of the whole book. And I am a big association person.
Mhm.
Like, I'll pick out things like when I was shopping at IKEA to furnish the house that I now live in, I would pick out blankets and stuff based on like their names, and one of the blankets was like it was called like Howl something,
Ah, I
and I
see.
picked it because of Howl's Moving Castle.
Yep.
'Cause I associated the names. Um, but and this might be kind of something where you might have to like stick with me on this, an interpretation that you may not have, maybe not intended, but like maybe not thought about before. But John 15:13, greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends.
Mhm.
And I think I think the outlaw is so reminiscent of this. And the way that this is underlying so deeply, at least to me, is so endearing. Um and like when you think about like the Marty Robbins outlaw, the Spike Spiegelman outlaw, the Jigen Daisuke outlaw. I'm just naming
Yeah.
animes here, but like the guys who write in, they write in like a thief in the night, and you don't know they're there, and they take all your stuff, they take your heart, they leave, and then the next day they might be sacrificing themselves for a stranger they met or another outlaw or to
Mhm.
get their friend out of a jam or something.
Yeah.
So if it's okay with you, I this was a shorter one, so I'll read it, and then yeah, hopefully what I'm rambling about kind of makes more sense after I read it,
Okay.
and
Okay.
everybody listening is like, "Oh yeah, she doesn't sound so crazy." Okay, so revolver bounces on the hip as the horse trots along a muddied road. The brim of the hat hangs low in respect for those past, unshaven face burnt in the light and hidden in the dark. The bar floor creaks as the stranger rolls in. Light flares, glass shatters. The stranger grabs the body and rides off for a bounty. The dead man knew this was a comin', where the outlaw comes for criminals. The outlaw, carefree as a horse, rides on to catch his paycheck. The outlaw does what he must, even if it means being someone else's pay. The outlaw does what he must, even if it means being someone else's pay.
Yeah.
Like, that is just, that's crazy, man. I love this poem so much, and maybe it's just because of everything I associate it with, but I don't know, like, and this is a huge generalization, but like these cowboys, these men who commit crime, like they know each other. It's a circle. It's the Wild Wild West,
Yeehaw.
and they know if they're not doing the killing, they're gonna get killed
Yeah.
because they may be the outlaw, they may be outside the law, and the police have no claim on them, but other outlaws do. Because you
Mhm.
all have this unspoken solidarity. And while you're competing, you're friends. Am I way off base?
Um, when I was writing this poem, my
Yeah.
entire thought process behind it was like, "Hmm, I wanna write a cowboy poem," and that's it.
I love this so
Yeah,
much. Like, I just. That's a good cowboy poem.
yeah. I think I ended up writing it pretty soon after I finished Red Dead Redemption 2, so that's
Oh my
probably
gosh.
why,
Yeah.
but
Got
which
the Arthur Morgan going on.
man,
Is that
that's
his name?
such a good game. Oh,
Just any media with cowboys is just god tier.
for the most part, yeah.
But yeah, I love the silly cowboy poem.
Yeah.
It's a good poem.
Yeah, like, right behind it, you've got, like, chaos, where
Yeah.
it's like, "Ooh, don't go insane. Ooh," and, like, immediately after the outlaw is revolution, where it's just like,
Yeah.
"Huh, society."
Yeah.
And it's just like, "Cowboy. Yeah."
Like cowboy fight against society, and then
Yeah.
revolution is like what when I read revolution, what I kind of thought it was kind of poking fun at like the normalcy that most social revolutions are just
Mhm.
like common sense that should be already the norm.
Yeah.
Like the kindness, the love that we should treat everybody with out the womb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do think revolution is almost a satire, like, it's on the border of
Yeah.
becoming a satire, just because a lot of, like, social justice organizations will often use some of this language that I used in it.
Yeah. And it's like almost propaganda.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it does still have, like, I think a good message in it
Mhm.
because it's, like,
Yeah,
kind of
especially
pulling
the end.
from some of those ideas that a lot of those organizations use and kind of, like, making a actual like, "Oh, this would be, like,
Application. Yeah.
actually good."
Yeah.
So,
And I think the end is kind of what takes it like it's a satire in the fact that like Jonathan Swift is satire,
mhm,
but you pull it back, and when you say I will not raise my hand against any for love is what fights, that brings it back.
mhm. Like,
Is
"Oh,
there a
that"
reason
like,
sorry,
it's
friend?
almost like, "Oh, that's something that isn't typically said."
Yeah.
Like, a lot of these social justice organizations are like, "We're gonna fight for you." It's like,
Mhm.
"No, you don't have to. You shouldn't.
No.
It's
Because when
your
you love
actions that
people, that is
show."
when the work is done. Yeah.
Yeah, like, it's a snap back to reality moment.
Yeah. Even like the Constitution and the Bill of Rights is written so aggressively
Mhm.
and like on the defense. And maybe they're not defending against the wrong thing, but they're defending with the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there a reason love is capitalized? Like just first letter capital?
Well, it's the true love.
It's is it Jesus?
Probably.
Probably. Okay,
Yeah.
because I couldn't tell if you were alluding to,
Just a little
um,
alluding, you know?
there's a little bit of allusion to the true,
Yeah.
not like the actual embodiment of productive, effective social justice, which was
Mhm.
Jesus Christ, but or if you're just personifying love as its own being.
It can be whatever, you know?
Yeah, whatever,
That's
yeah.
the joy of poetry.
Sure. And I feel like I don't know if I took like a religious predisposition to reading some of these, just because I know my background, I know your background,
Mhm.
but there are a lot of effective and possible illusions that aren't preachy, aren't like outwardly religious if
Yeah.
the readers don't want it to be religious, but enough to kind of just like prod and put the idea
Mhm.
in people's heads and like even just encouraging people to think about Jesus and consider who he was is more effective evangelism than trying to convince and mass convert and
Yeah.
blah blah blah. At least in my opinion. But
Mhm.
anyway,
Yeah. Or even could be just, like, my own subconscious, like, being
yeah.
raised in the church and still being around it a lot, just kind of like some of that sneaks in there a little bit.
It just happens.
Yeah.
Hand in hand. Is that um the end bit? That's from the Beatitudes, right?
I think
Or are you
so.
just
Yeah. Like,
okay?
the ending of it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pulling a little bit from that.
Nice. I think that was a really effective use of
Mhm.
like inspiration from scripture.
Yeah. And, a lot of the poems that I write, I
Mhm.
often categorize them as front porch poems. Like, you're just sitting on your front porch,
Uh-huh.
just looking out across the world, and you're just writing down what
Yeah.
you see, essentially.
That imagery is really I can pick that up from here.
Mhm.
Like a sky filled with stars, blank, red lights illuminate the black, and black ground runs red. Like you're looking out and like I don't know. I always used to think it was really weird when I could look out my window at like 10 o'clock at night and see that the sky is red from like light pollution and like other stuff.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I thought of when I saw it.
Mhm.
Um, the black ground running red and the white ground running red, it makes me think of war. Like that's just the only way I can
Kind of.
imagine that. Like
That
blood spill.
that stanza is kind of based
Yeah.
on not just police brutality, but abuse of power
Oh
as
my
well.
god.
Yeah.
Boy.
So you have, like, the red lights and the blue sirens,
Yeah.
like the police,
I see that.
and it's like they're shining a
And like
light
the
on
black.
the black, and their ground runs red,
Uh-huh.
and the blue sirens protect the white, and yet the white ground still runs red. It's like this abuse of power, it doesn't help
Uh-huh.
anyone, it's hurting everyone.
Yeah. Like it happens on the road, on the tar, on the black pavement.
Mhm.
It happens like in the white tile Senate floors of the rotunda
Yep.
and yeah.
Abuse of power.
Yeah. Do you think you probably didn't intend for this, I'm just thinking of it randomly, but the blue sirens versus the white ground, could that kind of be poking fun at the class conflict between blue collar and white collar?
Um,
Or am I going way too deep?
maybe someday.
Okay.
I
Okay.
kid, I kid. Um, but I can see why you see that, yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
But yeah, I didn't think of that actually.
Huh.
Huh. Yeah, I guess so. Huh,
Cool.
nice.
Cool. 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 Cool.
We're going to talk about a really good one that I like. This one's
Okay.
called Offline.
Real.
It's a little different than some of my other poems.
Yeah.
It's kind of formatted as like a text conversation.
Hmm.
On the left is Mark. On the right is Cassandra, who would be the main person.
Is there any significance to those names?
No,
Okay.
literally none.
Random name generator.
Essentially, yeah. And then in the center is almost like a third person, like
Okay.
different perspective almost. And it's kind of going back to like the AOL instant messenger days where it's like
Yeah.
connecting with this person's online, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so throughout the poem, you get to see like it says poor connection versus like at the very end, it says Cassandra is offline. Or it's like trying to reconnect. And it's
Yeah.
because this poem is kind of like it's set up like a breakup almost, or like an ex
Yeah.
talking to their ex, trying to reconnect after a bad relationship.
But yeah, I like how the text of the I am chat is indicative of their relationship. Like at
Mhm.
that second. Because when things got put online, our relationships got put online and they could change with like
Mhm.
one chat message.
Yeah,
And I think you captured that really well.
yeah,
And there's so much irony. Like the please be patient, Mark isn't patient.
yeah.
Um, connection is restored for like a split second and there's this chance and they're
And
both
it's like,
online
no.
and then it drops again. Yeah.
Yeah,
And when she's offline, that is when
it's over.
it's over. She's done. Which is like empowering reading that from a female viewpoint. I know I really appreciated that when she was finally like, don't talk to me again. I am
Yeah.
offline. I am checked out. I am done.
Mhm. Yeah, the poem almost starts out like Mark is trying to save a Word document he's working on almost. Like he forgot to save and it's like his internet went out or something, you know?
Yeah.
But then like reconnects and
Huh.
it's like, oh, he was actually talking to someone. It's like that's weird. Why is he almost treating it this way? And
Like,
then
why is it so transactional?
mhm.
Yeah.
And then
Hmm.
he's like trying to defend himself and there's one line where I think it kind of like seals the no deal.
Uh huh.
Mark is like, "I'll change. I'll only see you, no other woman." And it's like, no.
No, people can, but they never do.
Yeah.
I never meant for this to
The mask
happen.
changes,
Yeah.
but it's only a mask.
And I think it was really interesting. His first message to her when the connection is restored is hi, comma, I want to try again.
Yeah.
And like that is like that's so intentional because that's just him thinking about himself and conveying
It's like,
that.
I want this. I'm trying this.
Like, yeah, I know you want to try again, but this is not a business deal. Like this is not we're
Mhm.
not work partners. We're in a companionship, which
Yeah.
is a whole nother level than a partner, you know?
Yeah. And, like, he doesn't say sorry once in it.
No. Like he has no remorse. He doesn't want to
Yeah.
admit remorse. Like and I kind of want to go back to like what you were saying about the word document illusion
Mhm.
imagery going on because I think that's really interesting play on the contrast between a cornerstone relationship and a capstone relationship
Yeah.
where like the idea of cornerstone which is like the cornerstone of a building is what the entire building is built upon. It holds it up. It is its structure. It is its strength
Like Jesus.
without the cornerstone being nurtured like Jesus.
Yeah.
It's not strong. Versus the capstone, where all of your achievements are done.
Mhm.
This is just to seal the deal and define your worth, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And he definitely sees this relationship with Cassandra as a capstone that he is entitled to
Mhm.
because he has been working methodically to perfect it, but
Yeah.
it's not enough because he isn't looking at it from a nurturing viewpoint. He's looking at it from where he wants to fortify himself instead of fortifying them together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, like, you
I,
also get to see, like, the character's inner thoughts in this as well,
yes,
where
I really like
Cassandra is
that.
like, "No matter what I do, he never leaves me alone. Always
Uh-huh.
online,
Always
always
online,
watching, and for
always
what?"
watching. Yeah.
And then a little bit later, she says to him, "You have done nothing to prove yourself." And it's
Yeah.
like, your actions speak really loud.
Mhm. You can say whatever you want, but if
Mhm.
you're not like if there's no evidence to prove beyond a reasonable doubt, why what stake do I have in believing you?
Yeah.
And I think like when she says I had hoped that you would leave me this time, that's
Yeah.
like it's like almost pitiful and
Mhm.
sad because you deserve so much because Sandra deserves so much better.
Yeah.
But she wants to settle for this just because it'll make the pain end.
Yeah. And then
That's crazy.
Mark is just like, "But I'm trying."
But I'm trying, babe. Like,
And then
no, you're
Cassandra,
not.
she goes off like a queen.
Yeah. She slays. Boots
"Enough?
up, slays the house down.
Enough? You lost your chance. You lost it when you decided to leave. You said that I wasn't enough for you. Now you come back to me for the 100th time. The answer is no, and it always will be." Like, the actions you do have
Mhm.
consequences.
And like it's so crazy because even in his inner monologue, he's regretful, but he's not remorseful.
Yeah.
Which is there's a huge difference between the two, and it's very nuanced.
Like, he very much, like, regrets the actions he did, but he doesn't feel
Yeah.
remorse towards the people he hurt.
Yes. He's not apologetic.
Mhm.
He's just desperate.
Dang, and all that coming from a single guy.
I know. I was like, this is impressive. Very observant.
Yeah.
What about bitter?
Bitter. Oh, that one's a
Yeah.
fun one.
Yeah. What page is bitter on? Let me find it.
It's one of the later ones.
Later on.
44.
44.
This one's fun.
Okay, how's
I
this
like
one?
this one.
Where is one? Okay, here we go.
Yeah. I'm gonna read it. It's another shorter one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like a sour candy on the tongue, someone leaves a bad taste, grinning behind their teeth, their facade entraps, enchants. Friendly, flirty, fun. When backs turn away, the eyes dart, furious. It was what you did, not they, even though you did nothing. Or was just that I got tired of dodging knives aimed at my throat, trying to make words appear where none are needed. If you have something to say it. And don't ignore me when the taste of truth is too bitter for you.
I love that. I love that. Like the validation of being angry
Mhm.
and then the call out that like, okay, yes, you can have a problem with me, but take it up with me instead of avoiding it when you know you might be in the wrong.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's like this feels very personal to me right now because I am
Oh, it's personal to me too.
I am very sick of being the bigger person, and I so wish I could say this to some people, but
Yeah,
alas.
that's why I wrote it.
That's it's really good. It's a good capture of the feelings that just come along with, like, being passed up in a friend group, passed up for anything else,
Yeah,
or, like, any conflict that you get shoved to the wrong side of.
mhm,
I'm really interested in the, um, bitter, like, sour candy on the tongue, someone leaves a bad taste, grinning behind their teeth, their facade entraps enchants, friendly, flirty, fun.
yeah,
So,
like a betrayal.
like a betrayal,
Mhm,
like a girl that leads you on,
almost.
almost.
It can be interpreted that way, I guess.
Or like somebody who takes advantage of your kindness
Yeah,
and then when your back is turned, pounces on you like a python and
yeah, it's like when everyone else's back is turned away from them, like, their eyes dart, they're furious, and then it kind of is like a slight perspective shift. The next stanza, "It
yeah.
was what you did, not they, even though you did nothing." So it was like it's almost like an incoherent phrase.
Mhm.
That one
Yeah.
stanza is more from the perspective of, like, the betrayer.
I can see that.
'Cause it was
Like now
like
it's turning back to being accusatory.
yeah, like, their defense. Like,
Yeah.
you're in the wrong here, not them, even though you did nothing
Right.
wrong."
And then
And then it shifts right back to the, I guess, like, protagonist in this. It's like,
yeah.
"I'm just tired."
Yeah. Like I'm leaving this
Yeah.
like I'm taking my justified rage and calling it quits and departing because you're putting words in my mouth kind of a thing.
Yeah. Like, dodging knives aimed at my throat. Yeah, would be
Yeah.
like trying to
Dodging accusations.
yeah,
Yeah. And like trying to make words appear where none are needed or like I envision that as like somebody putting words into your mouth to create an argument that didn't happen.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Trying to make words appear where none are needed, or it's just, like, trying
Or
to
like
get a conversation going, even though it's, like, it's not needed.
yeah.
Like,
Or like
it's
an
done.
apology or something.
Yeah,
Like they're trying to get an apology from you, but you
yeah,
know that they don't need the apology. Yeah.
mhm. Like, "No, I'm not gonna feed your ego
Yeah.
by apologizing for something that, like, is not there."
Yeah. And then the don't ignore me when the taste of truth is too bitter for you. That is like
Takes it full circle.
slice. That takes a full circle,
Mhm.
like ends the poem abruptly, like how these relationships tend to end.
Yeah.
And like there's little closure. There's no reconciliation. There's no resolution.
Like, it's just done.
You
That's
just
it.
have to go on the rest of your life with this bitter feeling.
Yeah.
And whether you choose to acknowledge it or not,
Mhm.
it's out of my hands. It's in yours now, but I wish you would.
Yeah.
That is that feels really personal to me. So
Yeah.
I really relate. So
Yeah, maybe next month or something,
next month or something. Trauma
when
month.
we talk about trauma stuff.
Oh, I'm so anxious for trauma month.
Yeah.
We're gonna
That's
need to get a therapist to like moderate the
yeah.
shows.
Yeah. But yeah, that one is definitely a, much more personal poem than a lot of the other ones,
Yeah,
which is unfortunate, but it happens.
it does happen. Friends can. I don't know. I feel like in my adult life, looking back, very rarely have I found, like, actual good friends,
Yeah.
and I think I have now, but it took me, like, 22 years
Mhm.
to find people, you know?
Yeah. It's always hard to connect with people and then make meaningful connection from that.
Yeah, and, like, I don't know, just for once, I want to be in, like, I don't wanna say a parasocial friendship, but just, like, an all-encompassing, all-engulfing, like, "This person is my life,"
Yeah.
kind of a thing.
I think I'm the
Like,
opposite. I don't want that.
dude, I crave that so bad. I don't know, I'm also psycho, so
Yeah. Maybe, like, in a more actual social way, not parasocial.
yeah.
'Cause,
I
like,
don't really know what
parasocial would be,
parasocial.
like, a large group of people that act like they're
Oh,
friends with someone,
oh,
like Swifties.
okay, yeah, yeah. Not parasocial. I
Yeah,
get that now, okay.
yeah. At least
I
that's what
always
I think
thought
of it.
parasocial was, like, I never looked it up to define it, but I always kinda just assumed it was like
Yeah.
a vicarious relationship, like
Yeah,
you're
it
living
it
through
kind of
them, like
is.
you're putting yourself in their lives somehow, like a really cringy self-insert fan fiction, but
Yeah, I think it kind of it's a one-sided relationship. So,
it's
like,
unrequited.
yeah, like, a person develops
Yeah,
a strong sense of connection, intimacy, or familiarity with someone they don't actually know. So that would be like
real.
Swifties, the crazy ones,
Damn.
like the ones that track her every flight movement.
Yeah, that's freaking crazy. Those girls are nuts.
Yeah.
Those environmentalists are nuts. I'm kidding. I love you, environmentalists.
Yeah. Alright. We've got a few more poems and writings
Yeah.
to get through, I think.
Tell me about questions from the sane mind.
Oh, that one is rather fun. I actually think it's, like, the longest poem in here. It's I mean, the title is definitely pretty accurate, I think,
Mhm.
for the most part. So it's like a person essentially going insane, and they're, like, questioning that insanity.
Right. And there's, like, definitely, like, both, like, in the structure and in the logic, there is spiraling.
Mhm,
There is there are contradictions. There are opposites.
mhm.
There are, like, insanity is when you do the same thing over and over again expecting a different end result,
Yeah,
and this is that.
yeah.
Like, I don't want to just achieve goals, I want to change them is like not even 2 inches before on the page, it's this direction is meaningless, and then
Mhm.
here's this ambition, this, like, obsessive
Yeah,
ambition.
yeah. Like, it's pure insanity is what it is,
Yeah.
but there's still is, like, a little bit it's, like, where, like, the person is still acknowledging this, like, change in them. Like, they're questioning things, and yet they have all these feelings and thoughts in their mind, and yet it all kind of crashes down until they realize, like, "Maybe I'm not okay."
And oh, man, what you were reading from the back of the book,
Mhm,
like, the questioning of what is normal, what mind is, like what is insane,
mhm.
like, maybe almost self-diagnosing because feel like there has to be something wrong with you, but in
Yeah,
actuality, everybody has self-doubts, everybody has
mhm,
compulsions, and maybe you aren't unusual, maybe not, like in a way where you put so much pressure on yourself, you think you're going to crack,
mhm.
but then you end up okay in the end,
Yeah,
and, like, the apathy at the end of the ambition
yeah,
is, Like it shows how the spirals can be so exhausting.
Mhm. I think that this poem is kind of the cornerstone of the whole book. What gave me the idea for, like, the title and, like, kind of the theming of it,
Hmm.
for some parts at least, and it's just like
Like the warped sense of self.
yeah.
Yeah. Or when you lose when your sense of self changes.
The acknowledgement of the mind, but also the acknowledgement of the mindless.
Yeah. Like the things you can't control. Yeah.
Mhm, and it's
Like
like that takes a toll on you and it changes you.
mhm. Like when you realize you can't control everything and then like your perspective changes
Yeah,
and it's like then what's the point?
like, the last page of it, it's, like, a bunch of these, like, I can do I can make statements where it's like, these are things that I
Yeah.
can do, and yet, like, actually going and doing things is something that, like, doesn't happen,
Yeah.
and so it's, like, these contradictions between the conscious self and, like, the subconscious almost.
Yeah. Yeah, like when you're like almost like out of body, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. Like you can see yourself. You know you're like in the poems, you know you're on the edge of greatness.
Mhm.
And like you know you have this beautiful brain inside your head, but there's something in your body cutting it off.
Mhm. Like, almost like a fight between the mind and the heart.
Mm, mhm. Mind and your soul.
Yeah.
Like your physical body and your soul even.
Mhm.
Nice.
Which interesting thing about this poem, this was actually written, I believe, as a stream of consciousness, where, like, I just
Nice.
kind of kept writing without stopping,
Mhm.
which I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but
Mm.
it's a thing.
I think it went where your mind needed it to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you feel like a release after writing it? Like
Oh,
a
yeah.
your
Absolutely.
conscience is clear? Yeah.
Mhm.
Because like none of these feelings are necessarily bad. They're just something that everybody has to deal with, but they're
Yeah.
not vocalized. So when you put out media like this and you're creating that space and that vulnerability, it like I don't want to say normalizes because I saw a meme on the internet a couple days ago that kind of ruined the word normalize for me, but
Yeah.
it like humanizes having
Mhm.
self-doubt, having
It brings acknowledgement to it.
almost paralytic anxiety, yeah. Because it will never be alleviated if we don't acknowledge it.
Mhm.
I think that's the problem with a lot of treatment.
Mhm. But, yeah, I definitely think that this is probably one of the most important poems in the book,
Mhm.
which is kind of why it's, like, in the middle of it.
Yeah. It's it's like the checkpoint
Mhm.
between the 2 sections.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause with with this book, I have,
Yeah.
like, the title poem, obviously, Altered Minds, which is, like,
Uh-huh.
the very first poem, and then at the end of the poetry section, I have Minds Altered, which is kind of like a response poem to the title
Mhm.
poem, and it's kind of, like, inverted a little bit, and then in the middle of the poetry section is this one, where it's just kind of like,
Oh,
what's happening to me.
yeah.
It's it's very profound, I think.
Yeah. I think so too. I would agree with that. I think it's funny where you have you have questions from the same mind, which is almost regretful,
Yeah,
and then 2 pages before is radical, and it's like the
yeah,
opposite. It's like almost
yeah,
proud of that insanity.
mhm,
Like we're talking about the brain being trapped in the body or the heart being trapped by the brain, and in radical, instead of like hating that entrapment, the narrator loves this world that they find themselves trapped
Yeah,
in.
yeah. Yeah, I definitely
And
love
then it yeah.
having these contradictions in poetry. I think
Uh-huh.
that's one of the great things about poetry is that you can have
Yeah.
contradictions and they make sense.
Yeah. Can't really do that in prose without,
No.
like, more build up,
Mhm.
I think. Well, you can, but it'll just I don't know, I feel like twists in literature get lost on people more than twists in poetry
Yeah.
anthologies, which is sad, but the other thing I really liked about Radical is how it ends. Like,
Mhm.
again, the narrator loves loves their psychosis, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
And then they say, yeah, it needs to change, not with fiery destruction, but with the icy breath of wisdom.
Yeah.
And like that reluctantness to be calm and like that has what growing up has felt like to me.
Mhm.
Um, like having to put aside, like, again, lack of a better term, but like put aside my passion, my emotions, my vexations, what I want to be furious about,
Mhm.
and then sitting in what, like, sitting in the wisdom of letting things go and having this being in the state of grace to let things go.
Yeah.
We really don't want to.
Uh-huh.
And then, like, and then just aging.
Yeah. I definitely was not in that mindset when I was writing Radical,
I
but
don't
it
know. That's
was
just like,
that one was also an older one. I don't really
yeah.
remember much of writing that one.
It just reminds me so much of being young and idealistic
Mhm.
and then growing up and realizing that none of it matters.
Yeah.
That, like, voting green when you're 16 is like the coolest crap on earth.
Mhm.
But then when you're 23 and realize that
Oh,
the nominees had the delegates 2 weeks ago
yeah.
and the primaries are useless, then
Yeah.
Like even be like going into like interpersonal relationships and like the dynamics
Mhm.
of those. Um and like I don't know, whenever I think of wisdom, I think of like tolerance of the facts of what is wise is not always the most appealing
Mhm.
option, maybe.
Yeah. Like, you want that fiery destruction, like, you just wanna
yeah.
have the spice of life,
Yes. It's life without the spice.
but you still know that, like, you need to accept the cold truth,
Yeah.
essentially.
And like whenever I hear wisdom, I always think of Paul McCartney. Um, and like, like when I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me. And I've had similar experiences when I went through stuff. And it's like
Yeah.
there's comfort and wisdom if you want to step back from the trauma and look it in the face.
Mhm. Alright, so I have one more poem and then one of the short stories I wanna talk about a little bit.
Okay.
So the last poem I have is "The Edge,"
I can't
and
remember if we hit that one yet or not.
no, we
It's
hit
on
the
me.
one right before it, though.
Real. Yeah.
So this one's on page
Oh, that's
9.
probably what I thought.
Yeah,
Page 9.
and so this one's also a bit shorter. I'm gonna read it. It needs to be read. One could be sitting at home or standing in a line. Something irks them, like a whisper too soft to hear, yet loud enough to be understood. They could be right next to you, and no one would ever know. They reach out to a sturdy branch, only to snap themselves. Tomorrow waits impatiently, even if you are ready. The edge of time itself seems to bend before breaking. Endings are never exciting, left with only questions as to why we existed, eventually forgotten and remembered by all, not as our impact, but our final breath. The cliff is sharp, and I lift my foot to take a leap into my final dream.
That is deep.
I see why I put this after dreaded mind, because this one is dealing with like that mental edge where like
Uh-huh.
once your brain kind of jumps off of that, like you snap essentially. Like it's playing
Yeah.
with the idea of like someone snapping, like going insane all of a sudden. So it's kind of playing with that idea.
Ooh, I like that. I like that. And then for a while, instead of being like regarded for the way you are as a person up to
Mhm.
that point, they just talk about how you went crazy.
Yeah.
I feel like I read your poems very literally because like now I'm thinking of how like the phenomenon that happens when somebody's body of work is worth more after they've died
Uh-huh.
because like they're not remembered for their body of work before their death, but then after their death,
They're still
your final
remembered.
breath,
Like,
yeah,
yeah.
remembered because they
Mhm.
died.
Yeah.
But I like the imagery of the cliff is sharp. I lift my foot to take a leap into my final dream.
Mhm.
I lift my foot to to take a leap and snap and go crazy.
Yeah. Like I'm jumping off the edge.
Yeah, like I'm speaking my mind, saying up for myself, changing as
Yeah.
a person. I
Like I
think the
can't take it
idea of
anymore.
like yeah, like the shifting sense of self is really present in a lot
Mhm.
of these. And like you enter the situation as one person, you leave as a different one.
Yeah.
And then like your self image is kind of warped after that because like you forget who you were before, but
Yeah.
you don't realize you changed. And then when you do, it's like 2 years down the road and you're like, oh my God, who am I now?
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
almost like your mind has been altered.
Chun chun.
Whoa.
Oh, yeah. That's good. The edge of time itself seems to bend before breaking.
Mhm.
Like you're pushed to your limits.
Yep.
Nice. I like that one a lot.
Nice.
The last poem that I wanted to point out was Nature's Requiem. And I think I mainly just wanted to talk about the juxtaposition of like environmental imagery throughout the
Uh-huh.
book. Like you have very industrialized images and then you have this which is just like it's natural, it's brutal, it's uncomfortable, but it's like natural and unfiltered and
Mhm.
windy and grassy.
Yeah. A lot of my roots, get it? Roots in poetry
Yeah.
is within like more nature-based poems.
Mhm.
Um, I think that's kind of a little bit of how I started along with Edgar Allan Poe stuff, but
Yeah, as one does.
I think you can kind of see that advancement with my poetry
Yeah.
because nature poems is just something that like I love.
Mhm.
I love
Oh
them.
yeah. Like
There's
blades of
just so
grass for
much.
sure.
There's so much you can do with it.
Yeah. And I really like the no one knows the water's cold, breathing in ashes and dust. The mind plays tricks on we and us. I love the way that reads.
Mhm.
Is is it told from the perspective of an eagle or a hawk?
Um, not necessarily.
Okay. I'm just curious. Like the first line, empty skies shriek below. That just like made
Yeah,
me think of like a bird flying on the
yeah,
wind, and there's other like allusions to like coasting on the wind, and then like sort of a predatory
mhm,
relationship at the end.
yeah. Or even like God looking down at his creation. I could almost see it like that.
Ah, that's good.
Yeah. A lot of it is like very pure things, and then like the
Logan, no.
juxtaposition with it being like corrupted almost.
Oh my gosh, Logan, no. I see nothing yet everything. I hear birds
Uh-huh.
singing a song for none. A moment of moments, perfection fills the world. The only blemish is everything. The rotting corpse of a deer lies in front of me. Our faces different, minds the same. Like, our faces different, minds the same. That is the image of God. That is like
Mhm.
God has begotten himself in creation.
Yeah.
That is so profound.
Hmm.
And then the only blemish is everything. The rotting corpse of a deer lies in front of me. Like, like. How am I trying to say this? Like, yes, God created animals to be in the food chain for a reason, right?
Uh-huh.
But it still must be so disheartening to watch the creatures that you made, that you
Mhm.
poured yourself into, that you love, hurt each other. But that's what they have to do to survive. So
Yep.
you watch your creation recycle brutally. And the only imperfection is the inherent nature of its sustainability.
Yep.
Imagine how God felt. Like, I'm gonna start crying.
Oh.
Oh my gosh. And it also makes me think of, I think it's in Genesis 5 when God says that he regrets creating humanity because they tarnished his creation.
Uh-huh.
I took that way out of context, but that's just a really funny verse to me. So funny
Yeah.
to me. But like, that's huge.
Yeah.
Like empty skies shriek below, like God is looking down at the
Mhm.
skies that he made. And either they're just so devoid of natural life because of like I don't know, like hibernation, because of predators that keep reoccurring, whatever. It's just empty. Like he made it,
Yeah.
he filled it, it's empty again.
Yeah.
Whew.
Even the little stanza, paved roads lead to normal, yet nothing leads to fulfillment. Like if you take the paved road, you go back to society.
uh,
And yet if you don't take any road, or like you take the road that isn't there, then that's
mhm.
what leads you to fulfillment, essentially.
Yet nothing leads to fulfillment.
Mhm. Or like nothing that has been
No,
created
nothing. Yeah.
within the creation leads to fulfillment. There is nothing there.
And like the the lack of items
Uh-huh.
leads to fulfillment.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
The layers.
Layers. Oh man. Dude. That's crazy. I would like to see Walt Whitman write something like it. Rest in peace, Walt Whitman. I love you. Um okay. So your book is in two sections,
Yes.
poetry and
Yes.
prose. And I think there's some interesting sociological things playing out in the prose that you've written.
Mhm.
Interesting stuff happens between humans.
Yes.
And I think like I don't know, there were two that I thought a lot about.
Mhm.
Um, which was what's the second word of the first one?
Lycanthropy.
Lycanthria.
Yeah.
Vampirus lycanthria. Um,
That one's a fun one.
that one's a fun one. Supernatural and fun.
It's kind of inspired by Resident Evil.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And I think like also it kind of gives Lethal Company a little bit. Sorry,
Yeah.
that was
A little bit, I guess.
a little bit.
But this was written before that came out.
I think the shift in vampires of what they of who's the villain, I
Mhm.
guess, was interesting to me because like at first you can kind of see why you can kind of see I don't want to spoil anything. You can kind of see something coming, right?
Yeah.
But
Like,
then it
there's an
twists.
ominousness about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And then that ominousity comes to fruition, if that's a
Uh-huh.
word. And you think he's got it handled.
Yeah.
And then something else turns on him. And it kind of like begs the question like they were they trying to be heroic and save the protagonist from themselves is kind of what I was wondering, or like the dichotomy of like monster versus man,
Uh-huh.
I think is really present in this, and that's interesting.
Yeah.
And it's done well.
So I think this one deals more with like ulterior motives
Okay. Yeah.
because both the two main characters they work for a company in the short story, and you assume that they both have the same orders, but they
Mhm.
might not.
There we go.
Yeah,
There we go.
and it's kind of inspired by Resident Evil a little bit as well,
Yeah.
because you have evil corporation, double agents, and monsters,
Mhm.
and also the same corporation made a disease virus, which instead of zombies, it's vampiric werewolves because vampirus is like vampire, lycanthropy, lycanthropy, werewolf.
Oh,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yep.
I probably should have Googled that before I read it. That makes sense. I like that. There's still like the dichotomy of like
Mhm.
following orders versus like your consciousness kicking in or like what's left of your consciousness.
Mhm.
Um, it was really interesting. It was a good read.
Yeah.
Um, the one directly following it, Dark Lightning.
That one. Ooh.
That one is a whirlwind.
Yep. Because that one is like a super short story.
Yeah,
It's a page and a half.
yeah, and like so much happens,
Yeah.
and it's like I don't know. My thoughts keep changing about this one because I feel like it's kind of like an extended metaphor for like knowing that you're not good for a person
Yeah.
and knowing that you're going to hurt them.
Yeah.
And you want to retreat to save them from yourself, to save yourself from the loathing, but you still hurt them anyway. And then, like, you're in the aftermath
Uh-huh.
and try to figure out how to recover, how to move on from here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. What did you intend with it?
So this is kind of just like a little thing about someone getting superpowers,
Uh huh.
but I think after time it kind of developed more because the four main short stories are all connected
Oh, okay.
somehow, somewhat. Because it starts with the first one, and that one has stuff happen, and then
Hmm.
the things that happened in the first one kind of cause the things that happen in the third one. The second one is just kind of there, almost like an extra thing that happens in the world.
Hmm.
And then the fourth one, I think, kind of helps connect it a little bit. It's very loosely connected. I will say that.
It's like Fargo. It's like they
Yeah.
have influences on each other.
Mhm.
Same time, same timeline or different timelines.
Yeah. And so
Okay.
the main character guy person, they like get hit by the dark lightning and
Uh huh.
then they get abducted essentially. And then kind of like Portal, they have to like escape the facility and then like everything's changed. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Change.
And then it's kind of like questioning like yourself as well afterwards like
Right?
you've changed. Now what? Like this is your life now. Have fun. That's kind of what it is.
Yeah. I think like yeah. When the protagonist like finds their roommate and thinks, did I do that? When like they witness the event happen
Mhm.
and like they're still questioning if they're culpable.
Yeah.
Like that's an interesting play with guilt.
Because like in this one, the main character gets struck by the dark lightning,
Mhm.
like in their apartment, and like it's very likely that their roommate was also there, like in that same room with them, essentially. And then they also got hit, but they didn't survive the hit.
Yeah. So it's like survivor skill.
Yeah,
Yeah. Nice. I really like what you did with these stories.
and yeah, they all are connected because in the fourth one, the evil company is brought up from the second one, so it is all connected.
So Edge of the Wire. Tell me about that.
This one is separate though.
Oh, which one is? Did I miscount?
The fourth short story, Message of Darkness.
Oh, I miscounted. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that one is interesting as well.
Okay. Yeah.
It's written as like journal entries, but
Oh, I'm sorry.
yeah,
There you go.
but Edge of the Wire,
Yeah.
this one's fun. I really like this one, and I want to do more with it in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and guess what? It's inspired by cyberpunk. Do to do.
Cyberpunk.
Woo.
When isn't something Logan creates inspired by cyberpunk?
For
Let's be
real
real.
though. So it's set in a cyberpunk style world that I made, and you've got your main guy. His name's Leon in this one, I believe.
Leon.
If I
Yeah,
remember right.
this is Leon. Yep,
Yeah,
this is Leon.
yeah, Leon, and he's basically a mercenary.
Okay,
Someone that'll do a job as long as he gets paid.
great.
Real go getter.
Real go-getter. Real
Yeah,
ambitious.
and he's on a mission to go and sneak into this big facility and steal some stuff. Yeah. Yeah, copy the data from the server. And so it follows him as he's going and doing that, and then he meets another mercenary there. They end up fighting, and then he has to escape, and he escapes, but he gets back to essentially his boss, and it doesn't end very well for him. And then there's a little bit of like the next segment of it as well, but I don't really want to talk a ton about it because I want you to read it, and I think it's interesting. But yeah,
If this if your fascination with cyberpunk started because of anything specific, or if you remember when it started or how long it's been a part of your life, something like however you want to talk about your interests, because I'm curious.
yeah, I really like the aesthetic of it.
Uh-huh.
Just kind of like a futuristic world. The game Cyberpunk 2077. I played
The
that
games are lit.
a lot, a lot. I think I
Yeah.
have like 150 hours in it. Yeah. It's one of my favorite games. A lot of more mature stuff in it, but I tend to
Yeah.
ignore that.
It's just part of the story.
Yeah. It's just kind of part of the cyberpunk aesthetic almost.
Uh-huh.
I think the main thing that really popularized cyberpunk in general was Blade Runner,
Mm-hmm.
which is a very good movie, which I actually didn't like that movie as much as I thought I would, but that's
Really?
another thing.
What do you think of Edge Runners?
Oh, oh.
That it slays. It's so good.
Yeah.
So good.
Again, anything with cyberpunk stuff in it is going to be naturally more mature because it has a more realistic element to it.
Yeah.
Because life is dirty.
I've noticed that I don't know how I don't know if cyberpunk is apocalyptic, but for anything
It's dystopian,
bordering
that's for sure.
this, yeah, there we go. That's the word I was thinking of. Most dystopian stuff is not really realistic,
Hmm. Like the
but
Hunger Games. Like, yeah, that's
yeah.
the dystopia, but also like,
When is that ever gonna
yeah,
happen?
And then I was like, yeah, maybe like cybernetics will probably not happen, but
I mean,
it's
Elon
still
Musk.
more slice of life. We don't talk about him here. We don't say those words in this household. I'm kidding. So we kind of are at the end of your book review. Um, do you have anything you want to say on like the process of being self-published or
Yeah.
the things that you had to go through? Just in case anybody who is listening is thinking about publishing their own work, any
Mhm.
tips and tricks you may have for them?
It's a lot of work. It's a lot more
Yeah.
work than you think it will be. My first poetry book, I didn't really put a ton of work into it, and I think me looking back on it now, it kind of shows, just, like, things with formatting and stuff like that. Like, I didn't really know what I was doing, but with this one, I had to do a lot of, like, research, like, how do I format a book, like,
Hmm.
to actually look like a book?
Yeah.
And then, like, figuring out page count. How many pages do I want this to be? How many poems do I want in it? What's the order of the poems I want in it? And some of that is specific for this book, obviously. Different types of
Mhm.
books require different things. But in order to actually get it published, I used to start the Kindle Direct Publishing, which is a free tool, free publishing tool by Amazon
Real.
that
Shout
lets you
out to
just
Kindle.
upload your manuscript cover and sell it on Amazon. And then after a certain point, I was like, Amazon's kind of hard to work with.
Mhm.
And so I was looking at like, what are some other ways that I can actually like get this book out to more people? Because I don't want it to just sit on Amazon in the abyss of
The
the
abyss
bajillions
of
of books.
Amazon. Yeah.
So I managed to stumble upon Ingram Spark, which is very nice. It's similar to the Kindle Direct Publishing, where you upload your manuscript, you upload your cover, and you can edit your like details and stuff like that. They are more focused for bookstores. So
Okay.
you can like pay Ingram Spark to put your book on like their monthly catalog essentially of like new books. And then bookstores will be able to see that and then they'll be able to order your book at a discount.
Has anyone ordered your book?
I don't know. Probably not.
Oh,
But
well, that would be cool though.
yeah, like it'd be really cool to actually like go into a Barnes and Noble or something and
And
like,
see your book.
whoa, that's me.
I made that.
Whoa.
Oh,
Um,
that's really cool.
yeah, but definitely be prepared for the amount of work because you will want to revise everything. You'll definitely need to look over things multiple times,
Mhm.
and that can take a lot of time, a lot of work. I really started on this book. I mean, I've been kind of working on it off and on for a while.
Okay.
Like, I really sat down to work on this probably around the start of the year, and it wasn't until really just a few weeks ago, probably around, like, the start of March, where, like, I finally had the definitive manuscript, definitive cover, everything is ready to go. It's like it takes a while to get it ready to a point
Yeah.
where, yeah, this is a book and not just, like, a collection of different things that are bound.
Yeah. Like taking it the next level from like an
Mhm.
anthology to a cohesive
Yeah.
book. Almost like a novel. It's
Mhm.
it's almost like a novel.
Yeah.
Except poetry. Like there I feel like there is like some something reminiscent of like an overarching story and
Mhm.
theme. There's like obviously like there is like the motif of altered minds throughout,
Yeah.
but I feel like you have something going on deeper than that,
Mm.
which is fascinating and makes for an interesting read.
Yeah.
there anything else you want to say about your book, Altered Minds, that drops March 30th?
Buy it.
Plug. Buy it.
Buy it.
Buy it, guys.
Yeah.
Buy the first one too. Buy The Light of Humanity. Also. I forgot what it's called for a second.
If you want.
If you want.
Yeah.
But I'll force you to do it.
But at least buy this one, because this one's good.
Yeah. This one's good. I haven't read Light of Humanity though. I need to.
Yeah. And this one is really a collection of almost everything I've written in the past 4 years.
Like your whole college career.
Yeah. It's technically been in the works for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Not as long as another actual novel book that I've been working
Yeah.
on. That one I started in 2019.
I remember when we were talking about it for the first time.
Mhm. Which I'm actually starting my first revision on that, even though it's not
Ooh.
quite finished yet. I still want
Uh-huh.
to figure out how I want it to end, but it's getting close.
Okay.
So I'm working on a revision
Nice.
of that, and I got a new writing software that actually helps me with formatting and stuff. So that's gonna be fun.
Nice. Dude, that's awesome. Good for you.
I'm hoping for the novel that I'll be able to actually go and find an actual publisher for it,
Mm-hmm.
which would be awesome.
That would be awesome. Yeah.
Mhm.
To have your novel out.
Yeah.
That's huge.
And I do have a tentative title for it right now.
Do you want to share it? Do you want to keep it a secret?
I'll share it.
Okay.
So the tentative title for it right now is Flow of Time.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So
That
It's
already sounds good.
it's gonna be good. I
Yeah.
rewrote essentially the entire first chapter, and oh boy, it's gonna be good.
Ooh. Ooh.
It's
Nice.
gonna be good.
Oh, that's exciting.
Mhm.
That's great. Awesome. Well, yes, everybody heard it here first. Logan's an author.
Yep.
And we presented the first comprehensive lit review of his book, Altered Minds,
Woo!
which is hitting Amazon on March 30th.
Yeah, and potentially
Wink,
other
wink.
places as well.
Yes. I'll have to keep a lookout.
Yeah. I think I saw that you can buy it online from Walmart as well. I think I did see that.
What?
So,
That is crazy.
yeah.
That's awesome. Buy it at Walmart if you don't like Amazon.
Yeah. If you don't
Nice.
like either, then tell your bookstore to buy my book, and then you can buy it from them.
Yeah.
Or
Your
tell
local
your
indie
library.
bookshop. That would be huge.
Yeah. That they can buy it
Yeah.
from Ingram Spark. It's on there. And then tell them to have it in stock.
I might do that
Yeah.
when it drops. And hit up Bradley Library and be like, hey, you should have this book.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. It's gonna be available in both paperback and hardcover,
Ooh.
and a PDF ebook.
Nice.
The ebook and paperback are Amazon exclusive. All right.
So we will not be talking in depth about the primaries because
Yeah.
this year they were basically useless.
Yeah.
And I'm very, very bitter about it.
I'm not surprised though.
Not surprised. Disappointed, but not surprised.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not voting for those two guys anyway, so
No, I voted right in.
yeah.
And
I didn't even
I
vote
really
in the primary.
I voted. So I went to vote at 6:00. Polls closed at 7. But my local polling place is my library, right?
Mhm.
So I go to the library to vote. And the second I pull in, this guy gets out of his car. And I'm like, oh dear God, that's a politician.
Oh.
I am going to get canvassed. Oh my God.
Ugh.
So I get out of my car, and lo and behold, I get canvassed. And this guy he asked me if I'm about to go vote. And I was like, yes, sir, I am. And he was like, well, can I give you this information about my candidate? And he was telling me about the candidate. And then 10 seconds later, the candidate gets out of the car they were in.
Uh,
And he walks over. He's like, oh, hey, am I allowed to name drop?
Joe Biden.
He goes, hey, I'm Billy Morgan. I'm running for our state rep of the 79th district. And I was like, hey, how are you? And there's a law. I know this because I was an election judge for a couple of years. So there's a law that people cannot canvass, cannot solicit, cannot campaign within 100 feet of a polling
Yep.
place. These men were within 100 feet of the polling place, but I didn't badger them about it because I didn't really care.
Yeah.
And then we started talking, and I'm asking him all of these crazy questions that I know from being a politics person at Olivet. So I'm just out the wazoo asking him the craziest stuff to like test him because I'm like, you know what? He stopped me. I'm gonna ruin his day, whatever. But he actually had super good answers to
Dang.
everything,
Nice.
and I was actually really impressed.
Nice.
So I went in and I voted for him.
Nice.
But I don't think he won though, which really makes me upset. But
Rip.
that's okay.
Yeah. Kansas
But
did
yeah.
our election a little different this year, I think.
Okay.
So we had a presidential preference primary,
Oh.
which that one was literally just who do you want for president? But
Mhm.
it's a closed ballot. So they only have Democrat ballot and Republican ballot.
Yeah, that's how Illinois is too.
So it's just like
I think that's how.
there's no point for me to vote in this. I'm
Yeah.
not voting for either of them,
Yeah.
and I don't affiliate with any party.
Yeah.
So, but I think Kansas also has an actual like primary election in April for like our other stuff,
Okay.
which I think we have a congressperson that's up for re-election. I don't know if they'll actually win
Yeah.
because they voted yes on the TikTok bill.
Oh God.
Yeah.
That bill is a waste of everybody's time.
Yeah.
Like I can't believe we're spending time talking about TikTok in Congress when there's like people dying every day.
Yeah. Like
Whatever.
80% of Congress voted yes on that.
What the heck?
Like, if you are concerned about data security, data privacy, pass an actual data privacy bill,
Yeah.
not something that is just straight up market manipulation
Yeah.
and also unconstitutional.
Yeah. But who cares about constitutionality and
Yeah.
Congress? But
Especially when Facebook and Google are lining your pockets.
uh-huh. I said I voted Vernon. Guess who I voted for? Vernon Supreme, baby.
Yeah, Vernon Supreme.
Yeah, I did. And I'll be voting for him in November too.
Yeah, I'm still in the RFK Jr. camp.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know. I felt this after I voted yesterday. I was like, I should have voted for Marianne Williamson,
Yeah.
but it didn't really matter because Biden had the delegates a week ago, and I didn't know that until I was scrolling on Instagram that
And Trump
night.
already has the delegates as well.
Which is why even have a freaking primary? Just cancel
Yeah.
primary.
Like, there's no
It just
point in
makes
it.
me so upset. It makes me so upset.
Like, why are we spending
Like-
our tax dollars running this primary when there's no reason to run this primary?
There's no reason. And like, oh my gosh. And they didn't even bother to reprint the ballots to take
Yeah.
the people who dropped off. And that's like an every election cycle thing.
Yeah,
But
they
I'm
keep
like,
them on.
one, you can wait to print the ballots to like a couple of days before the election and
Yeah.
have a more accurate count of who is still in the running.
Yeah. I mean,
Two.
Nikki Haley is still technically in the running. She just suspended her campaign.
So you mean if I vote for Nikki Haley, she'll? Oh gosh.
No.
But anyway, yeah, I'm voting for Vernon Supreme in November. But then I'm like, am I wasting my vote? Should I vote RFK? Should I vote for another independent?
Yeah.
But
I mean, I always say vote for who you think has the best policies.
well, yeah, Vernon Supreme's gonna give a free pony to every American. Hell yeah, that's the best policy.
Yeah. And he's going to take
Yeah.
away our guns to give us better
Yes!
guns.
Yeah. Oh wait a minute. Oh, I didn't know about that one. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I also want to abolish the Second Amendment, so my opinion isn't really valid here. But
Yeah.
does the Second Amendment apply to laser guns? That's what I want. If like the Space Force goes all Star Trek-y,
That's actually like a really good question.
yeah. Like what's the Constitution? I cannot wait to see the Supreme Court case about laser guns
Yeah.
and watch these geriatric old men try to figure out what the frick a laser gun is.
I'd like to see Joe Biden try to answer that.
Mr. President. Oh my goodness. All right, friends. Well, with that being said, go vote. Vote in your state primaries if they're having another primary in April.
If you
Vote
want
in November.
to, I guess.
If you want. If you want to make your voice heard, make your voice heard.
Yeah.
Is it really being heard? I don't know. But
Yeah. And don't vote for the lesser of two evils when you can vote for the
No.
lesser of three evils.
hell, you can vote for the lesser of 8 evils.
Yeah.
A truth about being in your 20s that you're going to discover and you're probably going to hate it is that you have a bedtime again.
Yeah.
So, that being said,
It's our bedtime.
we are going. It's our bedtime. We're going to sign off.
Yep.
If I know what I'm doing with one thing, it is my sleep schedule, and I need sleep.
Yeah.
Hey, friends. In case you forgot, my name is Kaylee,
My name's Logan.
and we don't know what we're doing. And every time I say that, I feel like I'm on like My Name is Earl or something. So,
Yeah. Well.
hope you all have an amazing, amazing, amazing week. I hope all good things come to you. And your life is full of sunshine and ponies and rainbows and laughter and love
Yeah.
and hugs and cuddles and all the good stuff you want.
Yep. Yippee.
Yippee! Hooray!
Bye-bye.
Bye, y'all. Have a good week.